how did you find balance, and how did you get to that point where you're at now, thinking from the mindset of, if you could put yourself back in that place a couple years ago and say, hey dude, chill out. How do you balance life knowing that you still need to push, you still need to work things, but allowing things to come to you?
The biggest thing that I did was I really set boundaries within my schedule. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and I still can fall into this trap at times, but the more you actually block out your schedule and look at the things that you have in front of you. So I'll use the example, I still play in a men's flag football league. It's one of the things that I find to be very rewarding because I get to see a lot of my guy friends and we all play together. So to me, like, that's really important. And I know that I have games on Monday nights, sometimes on Wednesdays. So during the season, I block out in my business schedule those times when I know that we are going to have games, and everything else is stacked around that. My wife and I also still play co-ed volleyball together. That is really important to her because 2 years ago, she was like, hey, like, this is important that we have a day for us to spend time together where you're not focused on the business and I have your attention. And so I also know during the season of volleyball, like, hey, Thursday night, I'm going to plan all of my work stuff around that. And so for me, it was going ahead and knowing my non-negotiables, just like I ask my own clients, like, hey, what are some non-negotiables in your life that you're just not willing to give up, right? For them, it might be, I'm not willing to give up Oreos or cheesecake or ice cream. Okay, cool. Like, I can work with that. Tell me. And so, like, the same thing as a business owner, you have to have your non-negotiables for your own life and your business. And so for me, I think putting those two things in there really helped because now everything else I can reverse engineer. And if I can reverse engineer my non-negotiables, everything else can start to fit around that. And so many people just see, like, I got to push. And I mean, I was like that when I first, I mean, you want to talk about not having a lot of hair right now and starting to see grays. Well, heck, 4 years ago when I tried to build my own website, I stayed up for a month straight trying to figure out how to build my own website. It was probably a lot easier than I made it. But at the time, like, I didn't know any better. And I'm just trying to, like, YouTube things like every day and night. And my wife's just over there like, hey, it's going to be okay. I'm like, no, I got to get this up. And you get that one track mind of I got to finish this thing, right? Nowadays, I'm like, you know what? It's probably worth a lot of my time to pay somebody else to take care of it so I can actually go focus on what I'm good at. And I think as you get through this entrepreneur journey, if you are a business owner and you want to work for yourself, you have to figure out what you're actually good at and what you suck at. And if you suck at something, go find somebody that's good at it. And there's a lot of resources now where you can go find labor for things that you don't know, that people can build out a website for you now. Does it cost you money up front? Yeah, it does. And if you have the money, it's you're lucky. At the time, I didn't have a lot of money to pay somebody to build a website, but now if I go in and I want to reconstruct my website, I have luckily a nest egg where I could pay somebody to go build me out a new website, which I'm actually doing right now. So to me, like, that's cool because I don't have to waste time on that. I can just be a coach. I can focus on my clients. I can focus on how to make their programs better, their life better. Now I'm working on my business and not in my business. And I think that's really important to understand, is you have to know what you're good at, what you suck at, find people that can help you, and take the least amount of time to get it done. And you can always go back and make revisions. Like, everybody has this perfectionist mindset, I think, as like entrepreneurs. And I actually rather move faster without perfection than to move slower and it have to be perfect. Because even when you think it's perfect, you're going to mess something up. You're going to have to go back and fix it eventually. So you might as well go ahead and put it out there. There's been several times where I put things out there and like people like respond back and they're like, oh, this isn't working or that's not working. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you go back in, refine it. But at least I got it out there, because the faster you get it out there, the faster you can fix it. And a lot of times you don't really know what the problems are until you launch. So you might as well go ahead and launch, apologize and tell them, hey, I'll make it up for it, and let it go. But people want to get so caught up in being perfect that they actually just never get out of the starting gate. And you got to get going before you really worry about that stuff.